So everyone, here we are. We're in the 2022 Mustang GT. I'm with my new friend here, Dave. And we're going for a spin today in my car. And then we're going to go in his car. He has a 2020 Mustang GT. Same car, performance pack. But there's an interesting story that we're going to tell in a little while once we get back around how we met and why we're here today doing this video. But for now, while we're going for a little test ride in my car, I'm going to go for a test ride in his car. We're just going to get some road footage. The differences between the two cars is my car has mag ride, his doesn't. Otherwise, they're the exact same spec cars. I have the 301A package, he doesn't, which has the toggle switches and the mag ride. Other than that, the cars are virtually the same. Same V, same horsepower, and same color too, rapid red. So I'm just going to get some footage here of the road, and Dave's going to get that for me while we're driving. And so just enjoy. Make a left. How's it going, everyone? I am here with my friend Dave. Right here, I'm gonna. Hi.
Hello.
So Dave owns this 2020. Let me get back so you could see it. 2020 Mustang GT. Looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? So I'm gonna do this and show you my car. There's my car, which is a 2022 Mustang GT. So, funny story, we're going to tell you here today, and I let you guys know on YouTube, about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, that there was an important video coming up, and this is that important video. So, the story goes like this. I purchased this car sitting behind me here, this 2020 Mustang GT, and there's a story that goes with it. I bought this car. I found it online, and the dealership is Stoneham Ford in Massachusetts. It was advertised as having approximately 350 miles, performance pack, and it was at a very good price. So I took it for a test drive one day after work, took it for a ride, and I decided to buy it. I told the guy, the dealer, I said, listen, I like the car. It looks good, it drives good. And the funny thing is, I had saw this car online maybe a month or two before, 3 months before, at another dealership. I swear I saw another dealership, and they had said no. It was here at Stoneham, and I said, the price, the price, it had like a $3,000 or $4,000 price drop. They said no. This is where it's been delivered to. This is the car. So I said okay. I took it for a test drive. I liked it. It drove well. Before I left I left the lot, and I came back, a week or so later, and, ready to give the money, and I said, listen, I noticed there's an issue with the car right before I was ready to leave the lot. I said, I can't leave the lot. I said, the tires are wrong. I said, so I'm going to show you. So these are the rear of the car. This is a Mustang GT performance pack. It's supposed to come with 9.5-inch rims that sit on 275, 19-inch rims with the width is supposed to be 275s. So these are not 275, they are 255, and the rim is a non-performance pack rim. It's a premium rim, which is great, and it's a great rim, and it's beautiful, but it's not the one that comes with this car. So this is the rear And this is the front. So the fronts are supposed to have 255 rubber, which is great. This does have 255, but again, the rim is wrong. Another problem, these are supposed to have performance tires, meaning all season tires. These are all weather tires. They're Pirellis and they're all weather. Again, big mistake. So I ran into the dealership. I said, listen, I can't buy this car. There's something you got to do. It came with the wrong rubber. The guy looked at the dealership. At the time, the gentleman's name who was helping me, his name was Dean. Nice guy. I got the feeling like this is something potentially he was unaware of. But I felt like it should have been disclosed to me. I mean, this car, if you look at the window sticker, it clearly says 275 rear, 255 front on summer tires. So I said, listen, what are you guys going to do? I'm not taking this car. So they offered to give me a $500 check. I was very reluctant about it. I mean, rims on this car are $400 or $500 a piece. Tires alone are another $300-400 a piece. So we're looking at, more than a $2,000 deficit in what was supposed to come on the vehicle. I wanted the car badly. It was one of the only performance packs I could find in the price range and color I wanted. So I went for it. They gave me the $500 check and I walked out of the door. Again, I felt like it's something that should have been picked up. I felt like whether or not they knew about it was to be determined. I didn't get the feeling like it was their first rodeo here. I got the feeling like, someone in the dealership, according to them, they said, oh, maybe somebody swapped them out. We're looking at another car and they liked the rims and they took them and they swapped them out. But something that they should have been able to note or have written down somewhere, I felt. So here's the rest of the story. So I drove the car home. I drove it home. I literally put it in the garage that day, came back a couple days later, maybe a week later, and decided to take the car for a little spin. Took it out, drove it home, and I noticed a really big mistake with the car. And I don't know how this was not picked up by Stoneham Ford. Big mistake. So I'm going to show you here. So rain rail. So I'm going to walk around to the side where it was on. You can't see it on this car right now because it was fixed. I'm going to post a picture that I have up in the corner right now. So look up and you'll see this is what was there before. But here we are looking at the car right now. Rain rail, which rides down the entire length of the car, which again collects the rain. So if you look closely here, you can't really see it here well. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. There is some small indentations that has been painted over and filled in and repaired. So the car had a gash in it, probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch deep, and a little bit wider than a credit card, which not disclosed to me. They didn't know about it. They had no knowledge of it and said, listen, we don't know. How could that pass a pre-delivery inspection? These guys wash and wax these cars. They're on top of the car, looking at it down, cleaning the car. There's a gash in my car. Car is a 2020. It's now 2022. My concern was that this thing could have had some greater implications. This hole in the roof could have had some greater implications to the car and the durability, just everything overall. And I said to them, I said, listen, I'm not happy with this. I need you guys to take this car back. I didn't feel comfortable buying a car without them disclosing it to me. First it was the tires, now it was the roof. Big problem there. So long story short, I'm going to come back to this in a moment, but they took the car back and said, listen, you have to buy another car from me. You have to buy a car from us. So I ordered a 22, and that's the one that I will do a walk around of in a minute. Didn't offer to give me a break. Didn't offer to knock anything off the MSRP. I had to pay full MSRP, and it had to be from that dealership. Very deceptive, very wrong. and they weren't very happy about it. They weren't very nice about it. I have my friend Dave here, who I have just met, his story and how he ended up with this same car and how he found me. And so I make YouTube videos for fun on this car, and I started way back on the 2020 Camaro. And so my friend Dave here, who I met, I'm going to have him give you a little story here of how we met and how he found me and how he ends up with the car that I once owned, and the story that the dealership gave him about the car, and I think maybe perhaps even more importantly, the story that they told Dave about me and who I was, and which is A, not only insulting, but B, very untrue, and my feeling is it's very dishonest, very deceptive, very rude, and to add insult to injury, they lied to him about the car too, lied to him about mileage, lied to him about parts of the process that he should have been told and upfront, and the dealership should have been upfront about. So, Dave, I'm going to let you take it away.
All right, thanks, Tristan. So had been looking for a car for a while, and just searching online, I came across this Mustang it's probably been about 3 weeks ago. And so I emailed the dealership about it. And again, the thing that drew me into the car was the fact that it was, had a performance package, had a good price, and searching, I hadn't found anything like it. And the dealership, just so happened to be 30 minutes away from me. So I reached out to them online, asked them if the car was still available. They said yes, come in, take it for a test drive. So literally, I think from the time I emailed them, maybe a day or two went by. I drove down to the dealership, took it for a test drive. And so I went to the dealership, looked at the car, car was sitting on the lot, and I went around the car, just made sure, everything looked good on the car. Wasn't aware of the rim situation because I'm not completely familiar with Mustangs. I did know the sport package came with summer tires and the 255s on the front and 275, in the rear. So when I looked at it, I wasn't aware the rims that had been swapped out, basically, or that the tires were all-season tires. So anyway, the sales guy, Chris, comes out. I was outside just looking around the car, just said, you want to take it for a test drive? I said yes. Everything else about the car looked fine to me. But when I did go online, before I even test drove the Carfax said the car had 250 miles on it. And it was advertised that way on Sonam Ford's website. The car had 250 miles, and it was a 2020, which again, you're thinking to yourself, how does a 2020, when these cars are in demand and we're in the situation we're in right now with the supply chain shortage, etc., how does this available? And so, and again, I wanted to kind of jump on it, take advantage of it. And so, took the car for a test drive. Car was fine. When we got back from the test drive, when I hopped in the car, took it for a test drive, there were 1,900 and some odd miles on it. And the sales guy said, I expected a car with 250 miles, and he said, yeah, well, one of the guys, either the sales guy or somebody else, service guy, has been driving it. So I said, okay, well, I want some money off if I'm, you guys are advertising a car for 250 miles.
Hold on, I'm going to pause you right there, Dave.
Yeah.
So when I bought the car, the odometer said 350 in change. Hey guys, just a quick insert to the video here. I was going through my paperwork and I noticed that when I picked up the car, my odometer disclosure statement read clearly 123 miles. That was supposed to be the mileage that I drove off the lot with. That was not the case. When I sat in the car and took it for its first test drive, it had approximately 330, 350 miles on it. There's about a 200-mile gap there in what they claim was on the car and what I actually drove off the lot with. I'm just noticing this now as I'm going through the paperwork. Dave, when he picked up his car, his odometer reading said 250 is what the car was advertised for and what they were selling it to him for. And he actually sat in the car and it had 1,900 and change miles on it. So not very good. Again, another example of deceptiveness and just really poor salesmanship, and not a practice that any dealership should be practicing if they want to sell cars. Trust is the number one thing I look for in a dealership, and this is clearly distrustful. Take a quick look at this disclosure. Somewhere between 330 and 350. So how is it that I had the car, put approximately 150, 200, 250 miles on the car, gave it back to them with roughly 450 miles, maybe 500, close to 500 maybe, and now they're advertising the car for 250 miles? So right then and there, that tells you big red flag. So I'll let Dave continue.
So I like the car, again, nothing appeared to be kind of out of the ordinary with the car, and they lowered the price, so I said I'll buy it, and I bought it pretty much that day. And the other thing that happened was the sales guy Chris said, "Oh yeah, a college kid owned the car before and couldn't afford the payments, so we were nice enough to take the car back." And I was like, whatever, okay. And then one of their employees was driving the car here and there. And the other thing was, they didn't ask me for a deposit that day. They were like, okay, when do you want to pick it up? I didn't sign any paperwork that day, nothing. So I left, went home, and that was on a Monday. So on a Thursday, I went back to pick the car up. And
one sec, Dave. One more. So, I am not a college kid, right? I'm a professional in a professional position and professional job. And B, I didn't return the car because I couldn't afford it. So, number one, I'm not a college kid. B, I could afford the car, and I brought it back because of an issue I had with the car, which allegedly was not acknowledged. And one part of the story I forgot that I left out is when I went to pick up my 22. Went to go pick up the 22. It was ordered, took whatever, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it was. Went to pick it up, and I asked the guy. So the original guy was Dean. The next guy I worked with was Kevin. I said, Kevin, what ended up happening to the old car I bought, the 20? He's like, oh, that car's been sent back to Ford already. That thing is already on its way back, or it's already back there. So clearly, A, it wasn't sent back. So now we've got college kid, I'm not a college kid. B, I can afford the car. And now they're telling me that the vehicle was sent back to Ford because of the issue. I also want to say that I logged in with Ford customer service multiple calls regarding this vehicle. Multiple. The fact that the dealership needed to take it back, and that they were, they treated me the way they treated me, and I felt like Ford was doing us a disservice. I later to find out that Ford and their dealerships are two separate entities. So dealerships, I was told by Ford Motor Company, got to go back to your dealership, deal with your dealership, they'll handle the issue. Even after I called Ford and told them that there's a hole in the roof and they need to take the car back. Nope, the dealership had to take care of that. Dealership did. They did the wrong thing. they lied, and now they're lying to Dave about who I am. And then there's another piece. So Dave.
Yeah, and so I picked up the car on a Thursday. So bought, said I wanted to buy it on a Monday. Picked it up on a Thursday. Got the car home, and again everything's fine so far. And I look in the glove box, and there's 2 registrations in there. One of them's mine, and one of them is Tristan's. So I'm like, oh, now I have this guy who owned the car's information, who owned it before me. I'm gonna Google him, see if I can contact him, and reach out to him and see what's going on with the car. And so I Google Tristan, I find him on Facebook, and then his Facebook link to his YouTube channel. So I go to his YouTube channel, there's a bunch of videos. I start looking through the videos, and one video in particular says, he was sitting in his 22 Mustang, and he said, I owned a 2020, and there was a defect in, first he said the hood, but then he said, no, the roof.
Yeah.
And he pointed to the roof. And of course, immediately my stomach dropped, and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? And so I reached out to Tristan. I commented on his YouTube video, and then reached out to him through Facebook, and I actually got his cell phone number too. So Tristan winds up calling me back, and we talked about it. We went through this whole thing that we're talking about now. And he said, yeah, there was a problem with the roof. And I said, you have pictures? So next thing you know, he texted me the pictures, and I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? And then we started talking about the tires too, and the rims. So luckily, I know a guy who's been does body work. He owns a body shop. He's been in the business for 30 years or so. So I reach out to him, send him the pictures, and took the car. He looked at it. He noticed where they'd done the repair, but told me that the car structurally is fine, thankfully. And again, I hadn't reached out to the dealership or anything like that. Still haven't reached out to the dealership to let them know that I know about the car, that I even know Tristan. But there were, I had a couple sleepless nights, and the guy, again, flat out lied to me, the sales guy. They just wanted to get rid of the car because it had been sitting for whatever reason. And so I think either earlier this week or late last week, I have another friend who has a 4-post lift, because I wanted to look underneath the car, get under the car and take a look and see if there's any frame damage, any damage, or replace parts under the car. So luckily I went under the car, everything's fine with the car. So I think the kind of moral of the story here is you can't trust anybody who you're dealing with. And Tristan and I, before we started the video, we're talking about there are companies out there that will go inspect the car before you buy it. And I who expects to go to a Ford dealership and have the sales guys, give you different stories. I understand they want to sell cars, but it's again unfair, deceptive, fraudulent, and it's just too bad, because it's a company's reputation, it's Ford's reputation. We both love the cars that we bought, but the way that we went through what we went through to buy the cars was extremely unsettling, and it was crazy. And again, luckily I found Tristan, because I wouldn't have known. And let's say there was structural damage to the car, I took it to the track, rolled the car, and the whole roof caved in on me, or something else, So again, my recommendation is, when you're buying a car, used car especially, have it checked out by a company or a mechanic or whatever before you buy it, because you really truly don't know what you're buying, and you're putting your trust in people who are untrustworthy.
We wanted to bring this video to you together today. Dave and I agreed to do this together to, the goal wasn't to necessarily, and only I should say, expose this one dealership. I will say, I hope people comment on this, people hear this, tell us about your stories, any suggestions in terms of, next steps for us in terms of this misfortune for both of us. So please, there's a big community out there. YouTube's huge. This video is going to get posted in the next day, and we appreciate any feedback that you give. Please share this video with your family, with your friends. Please share it on your social media. Please post it on Facebook. Please share it around. I know that there's other people out there, I'm sure, that have had similar stories and situations. But this was just very unsettling, as Dave said, for the two of us. Very nerve-wracking, and something that neither one of us should have to go through with buying a new automobile. So we're happy to find each other. We're going to, remain friends and enjoy the cars together. And, this is, something we wanted to get out there. And, deceptive practices, bad people doing really not so nice things that could lead to very unsafe and hazardous situations. Not to mention, my name was exposed, my information was exposed, the dealership lied about me. That's myself on the line. That's not who I am. I'm a professional. I love the automobile. I love Ford. I love muscle cars, and this was not okay. Bottom line, not okay. So we are going to do a quick tour in both of the vehicles. First, we're going to take my car out for a spin so Dave can see how it drives. Again, same car, only difference is it has mag ride and a 301A package. And then we're going to take his car out for a spin. I'm going to drive them both so I can feel the difference and compare and contrast, and give you guys kind of a preview and enjoy some of the sounds, sights of the road, and what the car is, the enjoyment of driving these cars, aside from this very big misfortune that happened to the two of us. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll be back at you with another one soon. Enjoy, guys. So I want to give a little on power so you guys can hear a little bit. So good, feels so planted. Just an enjoyable car to drive.
So you go into sport mode in there?
Right now we're in normal mode.
Yeah.
I can put it in sport mode down here.
Oh yeah,
I got
you.
the shifter back to sport here.
Yeah.
So I know on your car
I got that too.
you have the sport on the shifter.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's very similar than hitting here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just pull it back on the shifter into sport.
Yeah. Ah.
Oh yeah. Just the feel of the car.
Yeah.
The suspension. Everything tightens up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's clearly louder.
Oh yeah.
And then the throttle response is just
McDonald's
on the highway. So yeah, enjoyable for sure.
Got it.
Everyone, we're back in the 2020 Mustang GT. If you pan around, you can see some of the differences from my car that I currently own to this car. Still a 10-speed, still has gauge pack, and it's very similar overall, except it's got some minor tweaks on the inside, a little different, smaller screen. Doesn't have the controls down here. But other than that, drive-wise, it's very similar. Doesn't have the mag ride, and I thought there would be a bigger change between the mag ride car and this car. To be honest with you, there's not a huge difference. I think you feel more of it when you get on it, because it stiffens up in the mag ride, whereas this car, it's kind of the same ring of softness kind of throughout. But other than that, like, it feels very similar. The two cars are close in the way they drive, the way they feel. So good on that. The way they sound, you can hear, I'm going to give a little acceleration here, are very similar as well. They both have the active exhaust, and they're both controlled the same way. Quiet, normal, sport, and then track mode. So right now we are in sport mode. So I'm going to put it in track mode so you can hear it a little better. Ford did a great job on these cars. Don't really go too fast. We got a little bit of traffic here, but you get the idea. Cuts like butter. All that power is in the mid-range and top end. Not that it's deficient down low, but when you get to 4, 5, 6,000 RPM, the engine just literally screams. And it's quite thrilling. Scooch along pretty quickly. Again, you know, this car drives very similar to the 22 that I own. Again, very minor differences. Tires are different. I have all season. I mean, he has all seasons on the 20. And I have performance tires and slightly wider tires in the rear. 275s in the rear versus 255. So you do feel that a little bit. The grip is a little bit different, but overall the feel of the car is just amazing. coming up on the left of me. We got a, it's like a blue one coming up over, oh, no, there's a little bit of traffic. Let's see if it passes me. Lots of these cars on the road today. This story just doesn't add up. It's just wrong on multiple levels. And please comment, YouTubers. You know, I built this channel for the enjoyment of the car and muscle cars, and just so happened to be Dave found me and wanted to share this story out for the public, and I agreed to do it because we're both in the same situation. And please comment, like, and share this video. If any of you out there have some information to share regarding our experience and what some next steps could be, that's also helpful. But again, thanks for watching this, and